everyone. Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. Thanks for being here, everybody. If you are, you can watch us, hi Contessa, hi Mel. You can watch us live on Twitch, Roku, YouTube, Facebook. The audio is uploaded afterwards anywhere that you listen to your podcasts, anywhere you stream podcasts. Oh, hi, Lisa. Hi, Heidi. Hi, Julie. Thank you all for being here. It's been a week, eh? I know I said that last week too, so I don't know. The planets, the way that everything is, it's been a lot. We've had a lot going on. Hi, Joanna. Oh, Joanna, I'm so glad that you're here today. Hi, Sherry. So a couple of things, because once we get rolling, there's so much to talk about with the ladies today. And if I don't do it now, I know that my ADHD brain will go sideways and I'll forget. We're talking fur babies. Yes, we are, Lisa. Yes, because we're talking about fur babies, it's all good now. That's for sure. Oh, right. The full moon is coming too. I think it's the 17th. Oh, Laura, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a hard night Tuesday night for sure. So I appreciate the hugs and I appreciate the grace that everybody showed me on Tuesday night. I feel like I'm probably beating myself up a little harder than I need to, because it was a lot going on that day, and I know that I did well, but I feel like I bumbled through it and didn't handle it as gracefully as what I would normally handle an event. So I appreciate the support that everybody showed me that day. Hi, Joanna. Thank you for being here. So a few things. Lake Superior Paracon is coming up October 4th through 6th. There are so many people, including Laura Lee Potvin, our host here on the UPRN network. So she has the Angel Walk on Mondays and the Thing at the Foot of the Bed with her co-host David Hansel on Thursdays. She will be speaking. I will be speaking. I'll be sharing messages at a Spirits and Suites. There is paranormal investigations, talks, workshops. There's so much going on. It is in Thunder Bay, Ontario. You can go to the lakesuperiorparacon.com page to get your tickets. There's just the lineup of speakers are pretty amazing. So if you don't know much about Thunder Bay, it's got everything from UFOs to Sasquatch, hauntings. It's a pretty energetically intense place, and I think it's a great spot for a Paracon, so I'm looking forward to it. Hi, Jocelyn. Thank you for being here. What else do I have going on? So I have not taught. When I checked my calendar, it's been a number of years since I've taught any courses or classes. So if you go to my website, which is carrieLynnShellhorn.com, I have psychic protection. I had to write everything down. Psychic protection, self-defense, and creating positive energy, September 29th. It is going to be hosted on Facebook, on a private page. If you go to my website, go under classes, it will be there. I'm doing the 5-week meditation, which is powerful. I love doing this course. It is a 5-week meditation. It's sort of, we do some energetic clearing. We do a guided meditation. That stuff will be up for 6 weeks. So that you can ask questions, comment, and it helps you with your intuitive journey and building from those basic skills and going all the way up to the intense stuff at the end of the 5 weeks. So it's a great way to support whatever intuitive journey you're currently on. So that is there too. And then in December, so that class will start December 1st, December 2nd will be the signs, symbols from spirit and strengthening your connection to the other side. So many people ask me about why they're not getting signs. So I wanted to do a class about how grief and trauma or stress can separate ourselves from our intuitive voice, how that affects how we're receiving signs and symbols, different kinds of signs and symbols. So we're going to be doing that class. We're going to do a guided meditation as well too in that class. So understanding, the different things that can affect us, and then showing ourselves grace, right? Showing ourselves grace while we're trying to get there. So all of those are on the website as well too. Let's see. One more. Oh yeah. So the tickets I have picked up again. I think like we're about 80% sold out now for the Love Life Afterlife in St. Thomas. It is a great venue. So it is the Princess Ave Playhouse. It is a former church. It's all the original pews. It definitely has their in-house spirits. So yeah, the VIP tickets sold out, I think like within 10 minutes. It was super crazy. So because we are doing an investigation after the event, but it is just a gallery event. I'll do a little bit of speaking at the beginning and I will share messages. But I think because it's so active, we'll set up some equipment while we're talking just to see what happens. I know the last time I was there was 3 years ago, and you could hear like a man's voice beside me when I was sharing messages, and there was nobody on the stage with me. So, I mean, living. So it was like it was a cool experience, and I'm super excited to be back there. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Thank you very much. It is, I think it's a great event as well too. So I appreciate the positive feedback. Jennifer, thank you very much for the comment about the floral wallpaper. I'm still trying to put my office back together. My brain goes, I feel like I need to change the office. It won't take me very long. And then I get caught into like actually how long it takes me to get it all done. Okay, let's bring out our guests. So our guests today, Julie Hirt, Karen Dendy Smith, and Meredith Tollison are the co-hosts of the Animal Communication podcast that you can follow wherever you get your podcasts. All three women are certified soul level animal communicators. Sorry, ladies. Certified soul level intuitive coaches, and they are teaching assistants for the Danielle MacKinnon School, where they met and studied animal communication many years ago. While they collaborate often, they also work individually and have unique areas of focus. Julie is a writer of the Substack blog, Trust the Animals, and a certified heart animal soul professional communicator, specializing in pet loss, grief, spiritual growth, and animal guides. Meredith is an end-of-life companion animal doula, a Let Animals Lead animal Reiki practitioner, and a certified dog trainer with a focus on behavior modification and positive reinforcement. Karen is a Pangu Shangon instructor and energy healer. She is an end-of-life companion animal doula and a founder and a director of the Animal Communication Collective, of which Meredith and Julie are also directors. These three women, along with 30 of their animal communication colleagues, raise money for animal welfare organizations around the world by hosting online animal communication events. Please welcome to the show, Julie, Meredith, and Karen. There we go.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Carolyn.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun to have you guys here. I have been promoting it. As soon as we discussed it, I have been promoting it even like at every event. You guys want to show up Friday. Please show up Friday at this date because we are going to have a chat.
Oh, thanks. That's awesome. We loved having you on our show too. Thank you.
So the Animal Communication podcast, I was on your show, and it was a blast because we did talk about how you guys, can get wigged out when you're doing a session with animals, and then a spirit of a person shows up, and I'm the exact opposite. I am like okay with the folks in spirit, and then the animals show up, and I'm like, what the heck? Where did that come from? So I keep promoting it. So where it's archived, right? If people wanted to listen to that, they can follow along with you and listen to any of those archived shows.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All of the episodes are there, and you can listen to, I think we've done 34 of them now, so you can listen to all of them.
You have fans out here. So Rob, I saw the post on Instagram. Thank you so much for doing that. Instagram and I are still not quite friendly friends, but I'm learning and getting there. So Heidi Gold, she also helps me out. She's helped me the last couple of weeks, sharing and promoting as well too. So I appreciate all of that. Oh, Jody is my soul family and paranormal sister, investigator sister. So she loves all of this. They have an animal communicator that comes out to their barn to talk to the horses all the time. So, which is super fun.
Yeah.
Tanya, thank you for being here. Hi, Lorraine.
Awesome.
So, Lisa Crick. There we go.
I love all these people saying hi. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
Just Heidi Gold. Hi, Colleen. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
And some of these names are familiar to me. I guess I'm part of your
know.
community, and I have seen
Yeah.
them in the community. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the Wiz. Hello, James.
Wow.
Thanks
Cool.
for being here. James is watching us from Washington.
Sweet.
Nice.
Hi, Sue. Oh, Deb Morris. Hi, Kim Sage. Oh my gosh, Jackie Collins, Heather Fugard. It's like the whole family's here hanging out. Kim Stanton, let me just put this up so we can have a quick read. And so interested in animal communication. I've actually worked with an animal once with my current dog. I've been telling him all day to talk to the experts today so I can learn what changes I can make to help him feel truly comfortable and secure in his life. And that's what it's about, right? Can you guys, we'll start with you, Julie, if you could give us a little bit of your background and how you got started and, where your focus is as well too. And
Yeah. So it started, maybe 10 years ago, something like that. I had two dogs. Their names were India and Bono, and they transitioned within 6 months of each other. And they were not the first dogs that I had. They were also not the first dogs with whom I'd used animal communicators to help me with that process. However, those dogs, when they passed, I just fell into a really deep depression. And of course, I was actually working in an advertising agency. I was head of account service. So Karen and I would both talk about this, that we're recovering advertising professionals, but, and I'm in a place, right, where that does not honor pet loss grief. And so to grieve, and as you know, my dad passed away 2 weeks ago. So to talk about that to some degree is acceptable, but to talk about the fact that my dogs passed and I wasn't able to really voice that, it really caused this depression. And so I had a friend of mine who also did energy healing. And she said one day, she's like, your dogs are here while I was in a session. And she's like, they're saying you need to do this work. You need to learn how to be an animal communicator. So I went to one school, got certified.
Did that throw you for a loop? Were you even like a little bit intuitive or sensitive ahead of time where that would have kind of been on the radar? Or did that just like toss you like?
Well, so I've always been interested in all of this type of work, all of it. My paternal grandmother, when she passed, my grandfather would talk about how he knew she was around. And my dad and I actually would talk a lot about different things that we had experienced. And we both discovered Rosemary Altea back in the day because she was on Oprah. Yeah. And so my dad read her books. I actually just found them in his office the other day. And
that gave me goosebumps, Julie. What a great find.
So the last conversation I had with him was about my business. He was worried that I had to close because there's an accident beforehand. And so I was taking care of him. He was worried that I wasn't able to do this work for a while. And I'm like, it's okay. We're going to be fine. It'll be just fine. And I know he's going to take my grandma too. Anyway, so there was that interest in it. So when she suggested that I do this, I was like, I've always been curious about it. I didn't ever think I could. And she's like, you should just try. So I did go to the school. I got a certification. And then, but I didn't do anything with it because I didn't believe in myself. Right. So then enter the dog I have now His name's Lucas, and he broke my leg 5 years ago while I was actively arguing with my husband as to why I wasn't doing this. And he was like, nope, you're out. We're getting you out of the old career and we're moving you forward. And so fast forward, I think like maybe 6 months, and I go to Omega Institute to meet Danielle MacKinnon, and who sits down next to me in the very first moment I'm there, but Ms. Dendy Smith and another person that we work with. Yeah. And this whole thing has, 5 years on, I do this full time. I love it. I feel fulfilled by it. I know it's going to help me through the grief with my dad. And that's, yes. And so that's how it all started. And I really do actually, like I said in the bio, I do specialize in pet loss grief, and I hold pet loss grief circles try to do once a month. We'll see how far we can go. It might be a little bit yet, but yes, that's exactly what I do. And I also love to really work with animals to have humans explore any type of trauma that they've been with, because the animals are absolutely here to help us grow and heal and understand what all that trauma is and how can we let it go, work through it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Miss Meredith, my friend.
Hey, Carrie Lynn. So what's the question? How do we get started in this?
Yes, ma'am.
And, there are two answers to that question. One answer is I've always been in this. And the other one is, I don't know, you did it. So looking back through my entire youth and childhood, I always had this intuitive capacity. You and I have spoken before about supporting the intuitive child. I remember my parents had books on their bookshelves about, raising the strong-willed child and what to do with really smart, stubborn kids, because they had 3 of them, right? But there were no books about what to do with the weirdo kid who was talking to the worms in the backyard and saying, this dog is communicating with me in some way, whatever words I had for it at 3, 4, 5 years old. So like so many intuitive people did, I sort of shut all that down.
Right.
I shut it all down and lived my life until I was sort of a grown up and came back to my hometown and started having certain experiences that made me want to wake up some of these intuitive abilities without realizing that's what I was doing. And then there's this one woman named Carolyn Shellhorn who came to my little town in Mississippi with some mutual friends and did a couple of workshops. About the same time, I was at the brink of, am I going to open up? Am I exploring this? What is my spiritual growth and development doing right now? So we can talk more about that later. But Carrie Lynn in Tupelo, Mississippi was extremely instrumental in that regard. And then I had a kitty cat who passed unexpectedly in sort of a tragic way. And I found online this random online workshop that I had you download Zoom to participate in this workshop. So that was my very first Zoom experience. And I log in and I do this workshop with Danielle MacKinnon and all these other people. And who is the person who is chosen for a reading that day? It would be one Miss Karen Dendy Smith. So that's where she and I met.
The common denominator.
The common denominator. And then from that point forward, I was hooked. And Karen and I went through all of our training from animal communication kindergarten to soul level intuitive coaching graduate school. And in the middle of all of that, we met up with Julie, and we've all worked together through this school, through this experience, and now creating this podcast as well as the online fundraising organization, which we'll talk about. So we've kind of been together ever since. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that our paths crossed like a long time, like that. It's a long time. It's 10, 11, 12 years at least.
12 years.
Yeah. I love that. That makes my heart happy. Karen, give me 1 second. I just want to address a couple of different things quickly. Hello, Joanne from London, Ontario. Kathy, thank you. Oh, Facebook is not working. I'm sorry. It is a Facebook thing, and I don't know how to fix that from here. So I'm glad that you made it here, wherever it is that you've landed. If it's through YouTube, I appreciate you getting here. Joanne is sharing, I have been a gateway for many years. I'm also of Indigenous background. Thank you so much for sharing and for being here. Crystal Atherton, thank you very much. I'm very sorry. She's just sharing that she just had to put down her baby December 28th. He was 14.
So sorry.
Yeah. Very sorry. It's very hard. It is a family member that is gone, and we grieve the same. We grieve sometimes even deeper because there are unconditional more than our family is, right? Karen, would you please share a bit of your beginnings, your journey beginnings?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was the weird one when I was a kid, right? Very sensitive. And I kind of walked around wondering, like, what am I doing here? A lot of my young life. I'm sure a lot of the people watching, listening, have probably felt the same. I astral projected, not knowing what I was doing when I was really little. I would just rock myself out of my body and travel around the neighborhood at night when I was really little. I saw auras around people. I would make light paintings with my hands on the walls when I was really young. I had no idea that this was weird until I said something and people thought I was weird. So then I kept it to myself. I always believed in reincarnation. And when I was about 11 or 12, I read a book on it and I was like, that now I understand me more, like why I feel so weird here. I used to watch the Dr. Dolittle movies thinking, I know that's real. I just don't know how to do it yet. Right?
I love that you added that word at the end. Yet.
Yeah. Yet. There was some deep part of my soul that just knew, had faith that that was real. And someday I'd figure out how to do it. And then I got into high school and started reading Edgar Cayce, which was really scary for a 16-year-old. And Sept Speaks by Jane Roberts, also really scary for a 16-year-old. But I was so drawn to that stuff, I Ching cubes, all that stuff just always drew me out of the norm of what everyone else thought was normal.
But that was your norm.
It was my normal, but I was not perceived as normal. So I thought I kind of led a double life, as I think many of us who are intuitive do when we're really young, how do I fit in life? And then the real experience we're having. Put it all away in college and then went into advertising and opened my own branding and marketing firm. It was very successful with employees and partners for years, but just never really felt like I was totally me.
Right.
And so I also I learned about Chinese medicine and Qigong when I was in my 30s and started studying that while I was in my business. And started teaching and doing energy work on the side for Qigong. And that's when I realized anyone who had an animal the animal was hovering and taking in the energy as much as the human. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Yeah. And I started feeling their emotions. Still didn't understand it. And then in 20, this is a really cool story. In 2002, I had a really crazy dream that my cat Dusty from college, who I totally grieved, didn't know how to take care of her the right way. That's a whole nother thing. Had passed, and I was begging the universe to please send her back for a do-over. So 3 years later, I started having dreams that she was looking for me, and it looked like in a battlefield, like that we couldn't get to each other. 3 weeks later, a 3-week-old kitten is found in the middle of a divided highway in Florida by my brother in the dark with the highway traffic going back and forth. And Hockey Puck, my black cat, came back from Dusty to Hockey Puck. And we opened the crate. I saw him. Had a hard time saying him for a while because I thought it was her, which it kind of was. But he came back into my life and helped me through so much. And he actually guided me toward and into this profession.
I love it. That you were aware enough to follow the signs that were being laid in front of you, right?
I wasn't initially. I will be honest. I was not initially. I just knew I'd been given a gift by the universe and that reincarnation was real. And my cat, Dusty, came back as Hockey Puck. And I was milking every minute of it. That's all I knew. as I
Right.
did energy work with him and that kind of stuff. But it wasn't until he got really sick in 2017 and was passing from a frozen larynx that I really, really started seeking out. And I'd dabbled in some communications classes before then because of my cat Morris, who was his partner in crime until Morris passed. When Hockey Puck passed, I was just so distraught by how he passed, and really kind of knowing that was my do-over and he may not reincarnate again in this life, that I really needed to know how to talk to him. And that's where I tripped over the Danielle MacKinnon seminar, where I found Meredith, and Danielle picked me for a reading, and I just thought, oh my God, he's led me here. So from there, I jumped into the classes. And a few years later, as the pandemic hit, I just decided this is my way. Yeah. I'm having faith in the universe telling me to really stop and do a reset, as the whole world was doing a stop and reset. I embraced that. And within a few years, I walked away from my company, and now I do this full time.
And when we're doing it, just flows. It's really hard to explain to people. It's super scary when you decide to step away from what was your norm, to do this kind of like to do intuitive work full time is a scary leap. And so when you chose to do that leap, I know I was like, okay, so if I'm really supposed to do this, I need this sign, and this sign before the end of the week, or something bigger. And thank you very much.
Right. Yeah, we start bargaining, right, with the universe. Give me this, and I'll go there. And
it all came, and I was like, okay, here we go. Here we go. And it'll be like, it's 17 and a half years. It's like almost 18 years later, right? So doing this full time. So, I mean, did you kind of test the universe a little bit, and then there's that full trust. Did you guys have that experience where you felt, okay, I'm gonna just, if this is really what you're needing from me, before you stepped into it? Did you test a little bit?
Oh yeah. Well, and I didn't quite believe the test, which is why I got the universal 2x4 with my dog breaking my leg, right? Yeah, and even once I was certified from Danielle MacKinnon, and then, even worked with these guys, even then there's still, am I really doing this? Am I worth? My big negative belief that I struggle with is, am I worthy? And that's what my animals have been slowly peeling back that onion to understand. Yes, in fact, I am, and how to do that and to accept it. And I'm still, working with that too. So that leap of faith, while I feel more stronger in it, there are still days when it's just like, oh, and the animals will do something, and the client is like, oh my God, that's amazing. I can't believe that's what they showed you. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like, I'm always in that state of awe, which I do think helps as well. But yeah, I think I still test it every now and then. I might believe in it a little more, much more than I did in the beginning. But I'm still like, really? Are you sure? Me? Really? Okay.
Because not very many people get to have their passion and their purpose be their profession.
Yeah,
that is very true.
Yeah,
and it's such a humbling and grateful experience when we are given that gift and we get to journey that journey where, we're sharing our passion. So yeah. There's just a few questions. I'm sorry. I don't know. You guys were kind of nodding your heads, and I want to keep up with some of the comments, and there's so many people here today. Thank you so much, everybody that's joining in the course. Meredith, would you mind addressing this? Joanna is just asking, where do you do the courses for animal communication? I know that you've mentioned it, but we'll just...
Yeah. So there are lots of things out there now. The three of us met through the Danielle MacKinnon School. Danielle MacKinnon's been practicing animal communication for 20 plus years. We all happened up on her at about the same time. And I believe that was, not an accident. We really loved going through her course. It was very rigorous coursework. And as I said, we've gone through like animal communication, kindergarten, all the way through soul level intuitive coaching, which I call her graduate school. And we've all taught all of these levels of her coursing. She's pretty amazing. It's rigorous. It's challenging. You know, we had to, the final certification course was creating a business plan and creating the websites and putting yourself
That's so
out
good
there,
though.
which is fantastic and kind of ties into what you were just talking to Julie about. I mean, being pushed out there. Oh, you're going to do this? Well, let's make sure you know how to do it, and you know how to do it with qualifications, with integrity, with some sense of, I don't know, real training behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a responsibility.
Absolutely.
Huge responsibility. We talk about that a lot.
Responsibility and accountability.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you need the credibility to back that up
Yeah.
to a certain extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed that.
I agree. Karen, would you mind addressing Lisa?
Sure.
Lisa Crick is just asking, do our animals now channel our past animals at times?
100% yes. Now, here's the interesting thing about that question, and I love that question. I'm so glad you asked it, because animals don't have the same narrow-mindedness that we do as humans about what is happening all around them. So they are absolutely way more in collaboration with spirit than we are naturally. So, and because we are all part of the same soul family. If you've had animals in your life, we are all part of the same soul family, your network, including your animals. And they know how to make sure that you are taken care of and that you are being supported. And the animal who is alive will absolutely allow the animal who has passed to collaborate with them. The energy of the animal is passed to collaborate with them, with the animal that is alive. That's why sometimes I get clients who say, why does my dog Sammy, he's doing weird traits, and I'll be describing the traits, and they're from the dog, let's say Astro, who's in spirit. And Astro is trying to work with Sammy to say, hey, I'm still here working with you and with the dog that's alive, because, hey, I actually sent them to continue working with you. So there's some really cool collaborations that can take place.
So that was one of the questions that I had actually wrote, was if we had soul contracts with our pets.
Oh, yeah.
How that works out. So what if people are not consciously aware that their pet is trying to help them with their soul contract? You know, what sort of behaviors might come up, or what kind of behaviors? Julie, do you want to, or Karen, do you want to continue? I'm not sure.
No, let Julie start. Meredith and I can add on.
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. Our animals have soul contracts with us. And yes, the animals in your life have those soul contracts. And I would even say animals that you come across. When you realize that an animal is doing something, whether it's behavior, health, or something that it just like gets you right in the heart, either love, or you're like, oh man, I hate it when they do that. There's something in that's for you to understand what's going on. And that's how they start to work with you. So even if it's, the bee that stings you and you're just like, oh gosh, darn, I can't believe that bee just did that. There's a reason, what is it that's really coming forward from feelings, and the sticky bits are Danielle will call it the sticky bits that we actually need to kind of take a look and work at. And just like with the universe, if you're not aware that your animal is doing something for you, with you, that's okay, because the universe is going to find a way, right? It's like water running downhill. It's going to find a way to keep moving. The universe is going to find a way to get you. And the animals are just but one of those many invitations that you have. And whether you realize it or not, it's going to happen. So, yeah.
Thank you. Just an extension. So there's thank you for being patient, everybody that's in the chat. I'm gonna do my best to keep up. So we're gonna roll. Kathy is extending that conversation and saying, or asking, is that why sometimes the pet picks you?
Oh yeah.
Karen, you should take that
Okay.
one.
Okay. So, Kathy, that's a fabulous question too. I love all these questions, I have to say. The universe is setting us all up to come together for a very specific reason. So your animal is always in cahoots with being with you. So the way that I like to explain it, and Meredith, you can add to this, is we are all souls having experiences, equal energetic souls outside of our bodies, all entering into houses in order to foster, grow, and evolve our heart and souls. So in the same way, a soul in your soul family may enter into an animal body with a lighter, more unconditional love vibration to be here in support of growth with you. So that agreement's already made before you come in. So does your animal pick you? 100%. Did you make that agreement before you both entered? 100%. So when you trip over an animal and you're like, they're in my life, whether an animal is handed to you because someone else can't take care of them, even the animal who you wish wasn't in your family, but somebody brought home and you're like, oh, why are they here? Absolutely, they picked you. Absolutely, they were supposed to be here with you, and there's no mistake about it. There's no coincidence. I don't actually believe in coincidences anyway.
I don't either. So Sherry, I'm just going to come back up to your question because it's still part of this conversation, and I just want to make sure that I'm getting to everyone. Sherry is adding, so can my cat sense when other spirits are close by, whether they're spirits of loved ones or...
Meredith, you want to take that one?
I love this question. I absolutely love this question. This goes probably in our our top 5 or 6. Wouldn't you say, ladies, that people ask us as clients? Absolutely they can. And here's the beautiful part about it. I mentioned being an extremely intuitive child. Children, animals, before the world gets to us as people, we all have this super amazing connection to the spirit world before someone says, oh, no, that you can't do that. That's not what you do as a person. When you were asking about soul contracts, Carrie Lynn, I remember reading my first book about soul contracts and going, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Now I get it. These negative beliefs, these underlying seed thoughts that I have, now it makes sense why I keep repeating these patterns. And these animals are going to help me with it. Awesome. And I was talking to someone in my life about it. And she said, oh, for my goodness, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Don't be absurd. And I went, okay. And it really took a lot for me to step into that belief and go, oh, no, this is a real thing. And I truly believe it. And now I understand it. As a child, you tried to shut me down from seeing these spirits, from communicating with the other side, from having intuitive abilities. And as an adult with animals, I'm seeing the same thing, but now you're trying to shut me down from that again. So standing in that power and saying, yes, the animals are helping me through this is exactly what's happening. When I see one of my many animals sitting in the corner looking up, I'm like, oh, you got somebody up there, you know? I hear clackety clack on the hardwood floors while I'm sleeping. I sat straight up in bed last night and smelled a smell and was like, there's an animal coming towards me. I believe because they don't have the limits, the human ego, the people telling them, don't be ridiculous. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard, that they are so incredibly open. They are so connected to, just the natural way of things, that they are bringing in connection to spirit all the time. And even more so, I believe that they're guiding us as humans with our human limitations, with our human questioning, with our human inability to accept that we are this connected. I believe that they're guiding us in a way that we can understand. Because a lot of times I'll listen to my cat way more than I'm going to listen to my mom, you know?
100%.
Totally.
Sorry, Mom, if you're listening.
And I know Karen's mom and Karen knows mine. So absolutely, I would trust Karen's cat way more to guide me into the spiritual realm. Yeah.
So funny.
Did that answer your question, Carolyn? That,
Yeah.
I tend to go on a little bit of a.
No, it was great. And actually I liked how you put that perspective on it, because I understood, like doing what I do every day as well too, that pets will come through and they'll show me the pets that are living, feeling them and connecting with them, and showing their loved ones that, they're people in spirit, including the pets are around. But I never thought about phrasing it in that way, like that they are so open that they're helping to teach you to be open as well too, to let go of that limitation. It was so beautifully said. Thank you, Miss Nora.
Yeah, she's having her say.
Yeah.
Miss Nora always has a say. Okay, Donna, I don't want to lose this. So I know that there's all kinds of comments. Thank you so much, everyone. Donna is sharing, I've had pets all my life, love them all dearly. I have 2 dogs now. I love them both very much, but I have to say that I have bonded with one of them in a way I have never bonded with any animal before. It's strange and overwhelming and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I just jump right in here?
Please do.
Because this just went whoosh right into me from your dog, Donna. And I know we may mix in a couple of readings throughout this. And what I got, Donna, is this is a reunion. The bonding is so deep for you and this dog. This is a reunion of past lives. Not repeating in this one life, but from past lives that you were both in. And there's a recognition and a reunion between the two of you that is just so intense that the reconnection is what's like shaking up your heart a little bit, in a good way, actually. I mean, it just went whoosh, so I had to tell you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Let's see. Okay. Oh, she's giving you all kinds of heart emojis.
So just thank your dog for coming back. Thank your dog for the reuniting, and just if I would suggest, just talk to them about allowing you to have some knowledge from them on a higher level, whether it's when you're zoning out together or sleeping and he's maybe sleeping next to you. Just say, I'm open to whatever you want to share with me, knowing full well that we have existed together before.
And that's what happens. And that's what I love about our relationships with animals, is that they are just as diverse as our relationships with humans, but yet they're even more, from my perspective, they're even more powerful, but each one plays such a different role. I've had how many dogs, and each one plays such a role. Either they're the heart dog or they're the soul dog or the whatever, but they're each doing something different on a level, and yet they're all working together. So, and yes, everything.
Just like our families, right?
Yeah.
Everyone playing a role. Jennifer is sharing, my cat passed from the same unusual cardiac condition that my brother passed from. I was blown away when the vet said what my cat had, and I knew it was a spiritual connection.
Yeah. We'll see that too, where animals actually will reflect the same illnesses that we have as well, in an effort to help us heal or recognize what's behind it emotionally, trauma-wise too. So they'll use all that.
But one question that also comes through often in that situation is my animal, am I causing my animal this suffering? Are they trying to take something from me?
Right.
And more often than not, the answer is no, they're not trying to take it from us. They're trying to mirror it to us or model what behavior we're supposed to be taking. And sometimes it's just an awareness of more often than not, in working with my clients, if they tell me something like what you just said, it's a question of the client saying, I'm willing to do everything possible to help, cure, take care of, comfort my animal. And a lot of times that's an awakening for them to say, okay, well, how much are you willing to do to take care of yourself? So it's an awakening moment to that the animal is presenting to them to learn some self-care, some healing on whatever level,
Boundaries.
physical, mental, emotional, physical.
All
Yeah.
of them. Yeah.
All of the boundaries.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Thank
Do y'all
you for
agree with
adding
that?
that.
Yeah.
Thank you for adding that.
Yeah.
Heather Fugata is sharing the majority of my animals have found me. Mr. Wojo, thank you for being here. So Stephen was on the show not that long ago. He is part of a podcast called Bigfoot Banter with Richie B on Saturday evenings.
Oh,
Very cool.
They take people out live in the back 40 of Richie's place, and is crazy experiences that they are
Mhm.
having. So
We're gonna
please
go.
right? I want to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just throw something out there? Oh, good. While you're saying that, I just saw Jennifer say that self-care part hit me hard. A huge light bulb moment. Yeah. Our animals want to wake us up on some level. Wake up our soul, shake up our soul, move our soul on some level. So that's really, really beautiful, Jennifer, that you're realizing that.
Sherry is saying, Meredith, that's exactly what my kitten does. When I'm on my chair, she's in my lap and looks up over my left shoulder.
So cool.
So seeing signs, seeing other spirits. Huh.
Okay. Oh, yes, Martina. I remember that. Martina is sharing. I once told her newest dog, Rosie, was sent and that she would be super important for her on her journey. And that's right. I remember when that message came through, who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? That is amazing. Kathy is asking, do our pets know that we are grieving?
Oh,
yes.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Do you mean, whether we're grieving for an animal or even like Lucas right now, very much knows that I'm grieving my dad. Even today, I was working with Meredith and Karen earlier today, and I went to just go lay down after a while because I was spent. And Lucas just came right up and curled, and he's a 70-pound dog, and he just came right up and just like completely enveloped me just so that I would be grounded as well as, just cry on him, which is what I was doing. So yeah, they absolutely know. And it's interesting. I'm finding it really interesting this time, right? Because this is the first parent I've lost. What's all going to transpire? So I'm looking at it through Julie, the daughter, as well as Julie, the animal communicator, as well as Julie, Lucas's partner, like all these different levels. I'm finding it so far, incredibly fascinating, supportive, and heartbreaking as well.
Yeah,
So,
it's still raw. And I think that people also need to hear that even though we have this connection and these abilities, we still grieve. As mediums, we still grieve and we still feel loss. And it's still raw for us when we are connecting, whether it's pets or our loved ones on the other side. It still takes us to those uncomfortable places too.
Yeah, which is a good point, because that reminds me, I keep forgetting doing this work. I have to remember I am still human.
Yes.
And I will still experience emotions. And as much as I work on myself with the animals and all of this, and with Karen and Meredith's help too, I'm still human. I still get to have emotions. I still get to go through all of this too. And we may have more understanding or more connectivity to everything around. And at the same time, I'm still right here.
Yeah.
I would like to throw in a point there too, because there are so many moments where I'm like, well, I'm so spiritually woke. I've done all of this work, and I'm a dog trainer, and I work with these animals, and I'm an animal communicator, and I work with these animals, and I'm soul level intuitive coach, and I work with these people. And why am I not okay in this moment? And we have to give ourselves some grace and some forgiveness that we are still human. When I think about my old dog Vader, who, Carolyn, you may have met, he would be 23, 24 something now. I cannot imagine the amount of salt water that was soaked up into his big, he was a 125-pound lab German Shepherd. And I swear to you, one tear would fall from my eye and he would be right there and wrap himself around me like a feather boa. And I would cry into him and he would snuggle into me and he would spoon me. He knew, and this is way before I did this work, he knew in a split second how to come to me and how to comfort me and how to remind me of my own humanity. I miss that. I love that.
Stephen, I love that you guys were out today and had all of that action happening. I saw a bit of the that you guys had gone live earlier. So Wojo is he's just asking a question that I actually get asked a lot when I'm working. So when communicating with animals, how do they communicate through you? Since they're in the afterlife, do they speak? It's not a weird question at all. All questions are good. He is saying, I miss my animals, and asking if they speak English. So that's a good question. What intuitive senses do you use and how do they come through? Karen, would you like to start?
Sure. It is a good question. And whether an animal is inside of their body or outside of their body, there is a soul delivering information. That's how I look at it. And I am the receptor for that information. And because I'm in a 3D body with a certain nervous system, and I happen to be on the radio station that speaks English, the way that information comes through and that I make sense of it comes out English. But that same being, animal, spirit, could be speaking to someone who only speaks Italian, to someone who speaks Italian, and they will speak Italian to explain what the information is that's coming through, because we're using our senses, right? So for me, I not only hear sounds, words, sentences, I feel in my body emotions that I can then describe. I have big downloads, like knowings, where all of a sudden I'll know about a whole scene or a situation and be able to describe it. Sometimes I'll smell stuff and just describe what I'm smelling. And I'm seeing pictures of things or like little video vignettes that I'm describing. So
with your inside eye, not necessarily outside.
Yeah. Not outside, in here, like a movie's playing in here that I can then describe. So it comes through in English because I happen to speak English. But interestingly, every once in a while, if an animal wants to get a point across about something where a different language or a funny word in another language makes sense, and I happen to know that word, it will come through that way because they know how to use your filters.
That sometimes is the gold nugget in a session for people. They're like, oh, I can't believe you just spit that out.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Julie, how do you receive information?
So I started out, which was interesting because the more I do this, the more the senses open. So I started out really strongly clairaudient and clairvoyant. So I would actually hear the word and then see it in like puffy letters. And that still happens. And I still also get movies. I get quotes from books. I get knowings, like Karen was saying, smells. I get all of that too. And, like as Karen was talking too, I call it like the Rolodex in my head. So whenever they're trying to get a point across, they will pull some random reference that I have, whether it's a movie or a book. Meredith and I know we get songs and we'll start singing. They'll sing to me. They want me to sing it out loud. They'll actually animate my hands. Sometimes they'll take they'll have an accent. I know Meredith and I, when we'll do readings together, we both go into accent mode. We'll do that too. But they'll access this Rolodex in my head in an effort to like use a reference that I have that the people will know too. Yes. And the same thing with words too. I speak German. So sometimes they'll come through and, a little phrase if the person somehow understands German. But it's crazy. But to be open to all of that, that's what's fun, because it's like, I have to give up control, right? I have to trust the animal to lead the session. And when that happens, it's like, it can be a free for all, as we all know when we work together. It's like, Oh my gosh, where'd that come from? We get a lot of John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever.
Oh my gosh, how fun
Yeah.
is that?
And I get John Travolta Grease more than Saturday Night Fever.
Oh my gosh.
That is so fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mr. Sean Kelly, thank you for stopping by to say hi. I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. So Sean Kelly is a host here on the UPRN network as well too. He has a show called Into the Night. It airs Sunday and Tuesday evening. So and we all love Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
All love
So-
Sean.
Carolyn, can I throw in just a little story about that last question?
You can, and I'm actually going to get this next. You can do the lead in for the next question from the chat as well too. I'll bring it up
Okay.
after you share your story.
Okay. So my story is, you ask how we get information. I get it in all different ways. I see, hear, feel, touch, taste, smell, feelings in my body, knowings, whatever. Julie's correct. We get songs, we get accents, we get all of those things. But I set a really strong intention going in that I receive the information in a way that I can deliver to the client and in a way that they can receive.
Very good.
The majority of the time it does come to me in English, I believe, because of my intention in that way. But I worked with a 30 some odd year old parrot who sang Italian opera to me. This is years ago. And I had to stop him and go, okay, Luigi, or whatever his name was. If it's one of the songs that, Pavarotti sang or any of the Italian opera that I would know, I can help you out here. But if I don't know that particular opera, could you translate to me? And then he would sing it. And it's like, it would come through in Italian and there would be subtitles.
Oh my God, that's so good.
And I'm telling you, this is a green parrot. I'm saying parrot. I don't know what it is. A big green bird, this big, and then he'd sing to me this incredible aria. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Love it.
Okay, so what's the question
Lisa
that I interrupted?
No, I love that you shared that. So Lisa Crick is sharing, my sweet boy Macklin was very musical and would finish musical phrasing for us when we were playing our trumpets, or he'd bark out Motley Crue, shout at the devil. And it was hysterical. That dog was my soul. Sean is saying, was it a macaw? So he's just asking if the bird was maybe a macaw. The question, I'm coming up, Michelle, to your question. I'll just put it up for you, Meredith. Michelle is asking, I'm really interested in honing in on animal communication, particularly with some animals, mainly dogs, that have some aggression and behavior issues. Does this happen because their human has matching energy? Yeah.
Okay. Yes, no, maybe. All of the above. Yeah. So from my training and behavior background, and with all of this animal communication, energetic training, there can frequently be, in my opinion, situations where the dog and the human are matching their energy. I will tell you, I had a very difficult dog, challenging dog, whom I loved very, very much. His energy and my energy matched. I still can't tell you to this day what was the chicken and what was the egg. But I do know, since his passing, that level of energy in me has come down a good bit. Now, it's still fundamental. It's still it's still way down deep in me, and something can happen and that energy can come right back up. So is it mine? Possibly. Put the question back up, Carolyn. I want to, if you can, or repeat it to me. But I will also tell you that there are some animals who, based on their experience in gestation, based on their experience in young animalhood, things may have happened to them that changed their programming somewhat. It's a scientifically proven fact that if a mother is in great trauma and great distress while carrying a litter of puppies, that adrenal response or cortisol response or whatever it is can affect those puppies. Some animals are just wired differently, and all of the synapses don't quite get through the way that we are all used to. Everyone who's ever had a good dog, when the challenging dog comes along, you're like, but I don't understand. Why is it this way? I don't know the answer to that. There are lots of things that can happen in gestation, lots of things that can happen in early youth, lots of things that can happen in stray.
I think she might have frozen.
Yeah.
You know, that word is not my favorite word. With humans that have the best of intentions, a lot of times our ego gets in the way and we think that we have the answers and that we know best how to fix these situations for these animals. And sometimes we don't. In spite of all of our skills, in spite of all of our talents, in spite of all of our abilities, sometimes this is just nature and we can't provide an answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
So we, my family and I had adopted a stray puppy that was very young, severely abused, found in a cemetery, which is how I knew it belonged to me. Like, were you in a cemetery? Come on, little broken peanut, you. So I did cord cutting, like energetic cord cutting and clearing immediately, like on the way going to see her, picking her up. What are some things that you would suggest then to help maybe ground or clear? If we're looking at we're all souls, those are things that I would do for myself as well too, right? What do I need energetically and physically and emotionally? So do we look at animals the same way? What do they need energetically, physically, and emotionally? And can we approach it that way? What kind of suggestions do you guys have? Maybe Karen, could you?
Sure. Yes, that is true, Carrie Lynn. And so what I wanted to predecess when I say this, though, is there are no mistakes that an animal like that may come into your life. The agreement with your souls beforehand means that no matter what house that animal has to take, they're going to take the house they need with all the tools provided, including imbalances, health issues, emotional imbalances, sensitivities, in order to work with you on a soul lesson that needs to be worked on. Soul lessons aren't always like the happy place. They're the place where discomfort happens, realizations happen, choices have to happen, self-reflection has to happen. And that's why that soul agreed to go into what we might perceive as a less than perfect situation or house, but it is the perfect situation and house for what is needed for you to learn a lesson. And so that commitment, that love and that commitment, that unconditional love of the soul to soul that would agree to do that is something that we can actually honor and be grateful for, which in some ways can help alleviate the heightened level of the experience that soul is having in that less than perfect body or situation, like cord cutting, like energy balancing, chakra balancing, nutritional balancing, looking at behavior and what that soul needs to settle, what energy you can provide to create balance, which is the lesson for the human. So there's a lot of different things that we absolutely can do to help an imbalanced situation, because we were meant to come up against that situation together.
Yeah.
I want to interject super quickly. Thank you, Karen, for saying all of that. And Carolyn for the cord cutting thing. There are lots of things that we can do to help, to try, to balance. But we often as humans get into a situation with the concept of feeling like we're going to fix it. And sometimes what is in our brains of what the fix is, what the ideal outcome is not in alignment with what our soul contract or our lesson is in working with this particularly challenged situation. I could cut cords all day long. I could train all day long. I could manage all day long, but that doesn't mean that the outcome is going to be the ideal scenario that I thought it was going to be. What I have to do is embrace the growth and the lesson, as painful as it may be, and take it from there and see what the next step is along the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
And just
we can
real
only
quick,
cord cut to a certain, we're only allowed to intervene to a certain point.
Right.
And then whoever's lesson it is has to take the rest of it and run. Julie,
Yeah.
you wanted to
I was just going to add, to me, it's also really key to ask the animal, why are you doing what you're doing? And not for us to label the
Mhm.
behavior as aggressive or naughty or whatever. Why do you react the way you do when you see whatever? You know, open up the question, but hear what they have to say. They have a lot of answers and solutions too that can guide the human and the behaviorist too, or the veterinarian into which way to help best. So
Right. Thank you for adding that. For those of you who may just be joining us now, thank you so much for joining us. You are listening to Spirit Switchboard. You are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. I'm your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and we have the hosts of the Animal Communication Podcast, Julie Hirt, Meredith Tollison, and Karen Dendy Smith. It's been a great conversation so far, and we've got so many great questions coming from the people joining us in the chat today. I know that there's more, so if you're comfortable, some of these names, I love the names too of these pets. So Heidi, thank you, Jeff. Thanks for being here. Lisa Crick is saying, I'm so excited to go to sleep tonight and ask my doggo and my catto what they feel comfortable sharing with me. Sherry Alcorn is sharing such an amazing conversation. I just wanted to come up. Okay, so Heidi and Linda Nelson, let's just kind of let's address these. Mostly like Pause Malone. Oh my gosh.
What a great name.
So good on every level. Oh my gosh, I love it. So my cat Pause Malone will bite and slap me when I'm crying.
Oh, I have to take this one. Keep going.
I've never had a pet act like this, and I struggle reading him. And Heidi is very intuitively aware and has also shared she does have a background with animal communication as well too, which doesn't mean that, you know, when we're doing our own stuff, we have our own blocks that get in the way too, and we're looking for information. So is he overwhelmed or really that irritated with me? Something I'm overlooking.
Okay. Heidi, you just dropped the perfect segue for something I wanted to talk about, which is a soul lesson with my baby hockey puck, who has now passed. And the reason why I do this work, this is exactly what he would do to me. So one of the things that I realized with him is if I was emoting and crying a lot and getting caught up in my actual emotions, he would stand in front of me and shake and get all twitchy and then bite. He never really broke the skin, but enough that it really did hurt. And he would not stop until I stopped crying and rebalanced myself. And at that point, it was before I learned to do this. And I went to a friend who was an animal communicator and actually one of my early mentors. Her name was Marcia Zace. She was very instrumental in me helping to understand myself. I realized that what was happening was all of the energy I was expressing was larger than potentially the thing I was having an emotion about. That I had to look at, why was I emoting so grandly over something and getting caught up in the over emoting and feeding the wave of my emoting versus taking a breath and going, wait, what is making my emotions come to the surface? And what does that mean for me? What am I trying to deal with that I'm not, but I'm getting caught up in the actual emotions? And it took me a little while to figure this out. But I started saying to myself when I got over emotional, or what I thought was just normal emotional, but what I then realized was, oh my God, that's how I would get attention when I was a kid. Nobody paid attention to me unless I was broken or dying. And so unless I was over emoting, nobody would actually take me seriously. And I would get so upset that my feelings weren't being respected that I would over emote. Once I kind of came to that point and I could tie back my soul lesson to childhood, when I started to emote over something and he would start to shake, I'd say, okay, wait, stop. I understand. Let me figure this out. And it's not that I stopped crying, but I started connecting in more with what was really happening for me now.
Right.
And why was that triggering so much from when I had been a child? And he stopped biting me. He just stood there. He watched guard because he was not going to let me get away with it. But he stopped biting me.
Wow.
And he just would stand guard while I worked on stuff. So, yeah, because he was very sensitive. He was wired with a very sensitive nervous system, like his mom, for a reason, so that I have to pay attention to my own sensitive nervous system. So I hope that helps. I hope that wasn't too long of an explanation, but Heidi, I have a feeling some situation may be going on.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I the teacher? Am I the student? Is it both?
Right.
Pausing to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Linda was also, she's saying, hi, fascinating conversation. You have me thinking of our younger dog that's scared of people outside of our family. She's sweet, but has such problems with socialization. I know that's my Nora, but that's because I don't like things peoply. So she is also not a peoply kind of dog. I'm not saying, Linda, that your dog is, or that you are not a peoply person, which is so funny. But who would like to? Julie, do you want to address this, or where should we direct this?
No, this is great. So, I mean, the first thing I heard was absolutely there's a soul level lesson in there for you. And it doesn't mean that you may not be peoply. I love that word. I'm totally taking that.
Feel free.
Yeah, it could be that she's just trying to show you that maybe some people, and this is what I'm hearing right now, that some people may not be in your greatest and highest good. And so she's actually trying to shield you from those people. It is quite possible. I mean, I'm not actually connected to her and I'm not necessarily doing a reading and whatnot, but I just feel like we are not peoply people in this house, but the other dog loves people. Yeah. So there could just be like two different sides of a coin being shown with both dogs. One way to encounter people situations, and one maybe to watch like those are not the right people to be peoply with. So it could be either or both. But usually if it's like, this is a perfect example of a soul lesson. It's like, why? I wonder why. And so then you start to try to peel those layers back in yourself. And what is it about me that maybe I need to focus on or let go of or embrace? Yeah.
I know with Nora, for me, it is probably because I've been ADHD in 18 different directions before 8 a.m. And before I go outside, I haven't done that shields up rubber bubble with slime. I'm ready to face the day. And she's losing her shite by the door. You are not ready to be out near these people yet.
Yeah.
Are you paying attention?
Right.
So there's also an element here of, so the other dog's great with people. Okay, great. The other dog's great with people. And you're like, okay, so we've got this dog. We're great with people. We're doing all the things. And then we get this other dog and she's not great with people. So where do we examine how this fits into our world, into our household? One might say I'm great with people from time to time, me as a person. And then I come home and go, oh my God, that was too much people-y. And I'd really like to not be with people. So examine every animal, every human, every spirit, every soul as a study of one. This one is showing you something with wanting to be with people. And then this one is showing you maybe there are some people who aren't in your best interest and you need to evaluate the situation before you step into it. Just consider where the lessons might fall, regardless of the place in your life or the animal that is talking to you about it.
Mr. Howie, thank you so much for being here. Howie is with the Rift Nation Network, runs it. I know that I don't know, you can correct me if I'm giving out misinformation. There's some open spots looking for new shows and hosts. They got all kinds of great things going on over there. And I appreciate how much support you give me over here, Howie.
And I love the top hat. Thank you.
Me too.
Oh yeah. So if you go to the Orion Effect or you watch any of he's got some great steampunk hats.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, super fun. The very first interview that I did on their show, I wore my steampunk hat to feel like I was part of the gang. Linda is sharing fascinating. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Linda. Good.
Thank you, Linda.
Awesome.
I want a steampunk hat.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lot of hats. I don't have any steampunk hats. Howie, can you help me out?
Oh, thank you. Heidi, thank you for subscribing for Howie's network and his shows. So Mel Willis is just asking, are birds as easy as dogs and cats to communicate with? We have a few of both. Maybe Mel, you might be coming in, excuse me, a little late. We did have an awesome bird story with Meredith. But I will bring this up so that you guys can that you can address it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure Julie, we left off. Did you answer the last question? So maybe Meredith will come back to you. Are birds as easy? Or, like, let's extend it out. People have guinea pigs and spiders and snakes and exotics. Mm-hmm. Like it's do you find, would your own personal experiences and traumas get in the way of connecting with different animals? Let's look at it all kinds of different ways.
Well, that's a really funny question for me to jump into, because I have always been terrified of birds. Terrified of birds. Got a real issue with birds. I have communicated with a lot of birds. And now, like you, Carrie Lynn, I'm learning the Instagram world, right? I got Facebook. I'm learning Instagram. You know what pops up in my Instagram all the time? These birds that do these cute dances and sing these cute songs and do all these things. So I'm surrounded by birds right now. And I think it may have something to do with me needing to face the birds in my life. But yes, I have had a series of clients with bearded dragons, series of clients with birds, series of clients. In fact, you guys will remember this in our early training. We were told to communicate with an animal. We weren't told what it was. Yeah. And then found out after the fact that it was something really weird that nobody would have ever thought to communicate with. So birds are not any different than cats and dogs. Neither are lizards, neither are alligators or snakes or sloths. Or once you connect with the energy, it doesn't really matter what it is. However, I will say that I can generally feel some sort of specific connection to whatever that species energy is. Like they're trying to give me a little hint. So you just think you're communicating with a dog, but I'm really a donkey. And here's a little donkeyness to share with you.
If I feel that Nika Love is kind of friend. She is, well, yes. Thank you, friend, for being here. But I think that she's kind of hinting at an inside joke. So I'm going to put this up.
Oh, we can talk about this.
So she's just commenting we need to go back and visit the pigeon.
Yes, we do.
And I'll be much more comfortable with the pigeon than I was.
Oh, goodness. It was so funny when we went. So just to give a little background super quick, Nika Love is one of the rescues and sanctuaries that we work with through the Animal Communication Collective. And we've raised a lot of funds for them and helped. This person built a beautiful sanctuary in Nicaragua to help animals in need.
Is there a website that we can connect people with for Nika Love? And Nika Love, if you want to put your web address or anything like that in the chat, please do, so that people can find you. And
they do amazing work with with poorest communities and help them with their animals and get spay and neuters done and take care of the animals and the horses and everything in Nicaragua. So it's quite an organization. But the founder happens to live in New Hampshire, and we went and we did we're doing actually an event with them in November. And a few years ago, we did an event. We went to visit a sanctuary up there, and the person who we went to help, we were actually supposed to go and talk to her goats, which we did, because a goat was having a name issue, and she was very upset that she was being called something, and she wanted to be called something else. And when we figured out what that was, the goat's personality actually changed. So that was really cool. But in the meantime, we had gone through this old pigeon house, and there was one lone pigeon, and the woman was asking, why won't this pigeon leave? And it was me and Meredith and another one of our friends, Jody Crotty, were standing there, and the pigeon just kept saying, why would I leave my home? This is my home. You're my person, and this is my home. And it was that clear. And we just kept saying, that pigeon is attached to you, person, and this is their home, and they are not leaving. So get used to it. And the fascinating thing is, move forward a year or two, that pigeon is still around, and that pigeon is now going into the house. It won't leave this person alone, because that person is their person.
That's so yummy.
Right?
So
Send us pictures of sitting on the coffee or sitting on the couch drinking coffee, and Pidge
And
is
there's the pigeon.
right here.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's their pigeon. Yeah.
I just have to add one quick thing, and I wasn't part of the pigeon conversation. However, when the question first came up about can we talk to birds, that's why you see me looking out the window, because there's a window right here. The birds are amazing all of a sudden, and I don't even know what kind they are. I know we've got migration happening, but there's a million birds right outside my window, and they all, as soon as that question popped up, it was like here, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Yes, you're easy to speak with. I just wanted to share that little bit too. Yeah.
I mean, and the access to information is plentiful for anyone to look up, like, spiritual meaning of coyote. Like coyote crossed our path today when we were driving, or all of a sudden I've got all kinds of skunks in my backyard. What's a skunk all about? Like, you can access that information pretty easily by doing some quick Google searches, right? Like, in connecting with animals that way.
But you also have to be sure that we had this conversation earlier today, didn't we, Julie and Karen? So look it up, take in the information that's available out there, but then make sure that the information that you're reading, you take the parts and pieces that feel relevant to you. You don't have to immediately accept it because somebody put a book out about it.
Yeah.
But take their information, blend it with your own, and decide which parts and pieces are the most important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Everything from ant infestation in your kitchen, spiders on the porch, to the animals that you meet on your hike, to the domesticated or exotic. Some people do have the exotic pets as well too. You're very welcome, Nika Love, and please, feel free to make the comment putting a web address for people to find you. Lisa Rawlings, I'm looking forward to seeing you in St. Thomas as well too. Joanna McTaggart is just sharing. Carolyn, you told me that Ella, who is her beautiful cat that is crossed over, was learning from Gorby. Oh, Ella is here and Gorby is crossed. Sorry, Joanna, I did that all ass backwards. And then just said the word I probably shouldn't have said. So, there's that.
You mean donkey backwards? I'm just going to give you
Carolyn, off the podcast, mouth just came out. So, Carolyn, you told me that Ella was learning from Gorby about how to be nice. And I see that so clearly. It's hard for her, but she's certainly trying. Yes. Paying attention to nature and all message synchronicities. I agree. Heidi, grasshopper friend. I've had a grasshopper friend most of the summer, snakes, raccoons, and squirrels. I love all of that. Praying mantis the last 2 years. Yeah, that's super fun too.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to come up. Just want to be mindful of my.
My dog has just come right in here and snuggled up, and he's looking at the computer. Like, what's going on in there? I love how the
love
energy pulls the animals in. Yeah.
Right. My mom's cat, when I'm FaceTiming her, because we live 9 hours apart, and when we're messaging, her cat comes up and sticks his butt in the, so that all I see is a cat butt.
Yep.
Yep.
And I'm like,
We have screenshots of every time we're on a call. Somebody's kitty turns around and shows it all to the camera.
Oh yeah. Mine likes to stand on my head for a minute. She
mm,
comes into and she stands on my head. So
every time. It's so funny. Dee Hoot, thank you very much for being here. Hopefully you're still here and being patient. As I tried to scroll through, there were so many great questions and comments today, everybody. I'm really doing my best to get to you all. They're just saying, could animals being confined cause lasting trauma? Say in a bird or whatever, do they eventually adapt, or do they have lasting trauma if they are confined?
I'll just share from my perspective, because the three of us do work with a lot of rescues and shelters because of the charity work that we do. And what we have generally found most of the time, our animals are more willing to stay in the present if things shift for them and make them feel safe and comfortable. They are more willing to let go of stuff and energy in the past, and become more settled into the present where things feel better, safe, calm, where they're loved. That said, like us, because we are all 3D bodies and experiencing things, and we do store trauma in our bodies. Everyone does. It doesn't matter if you're a cat, a dog, or a human, or an iguana. Some of that trauma can get stored in the body, and that's where they will let it go if we help them let it go. So if you're working with someone who can do Reiki in animal communication or clearing in animal communication, collaborate with an acupuncturist, some grounding techniques, some shifting energetic techniques while you're helping deliver an animal's message about what they're trying to release, they will very quickly, a lot of times, shift into the present where they begin to let that stuff go way faster than humans do.
And
Thank
I'll
you.
say that quick addition to that, you know how you lie in bed at night and go, and then that person said this thing to me, and then they did that thing, and I'm going to replay this event in my head 1,000 times. I found in working with animals, they don't do that. So their previous trauma, their previous confinement, their previous things, they really do bring it back to the present, and they don't replay that ego, beat yourself up thing like we do as humans.
Mhm.
Thank you for adding to that, Meredith.
You know, I've always got something to add, Carolyn.
I love it. Hi, Lois. Thank you very much for being here. Everyone's animals are all starting to curl up on their
Nice.
their chosen people. You can. Everyone is. Dehood is just saying, I know that's a dark question. It's not really. It is part of a conversation that especially. Yeah,
it's a great question, because the animals are inviting us to be integrated with them and not be, we have this mentality, not all of us, right? But there's this mentality that we are superior to all the other species on the planet, and that's not true. So that's a great question, because it fosters, just like you were saying, Carolyn, that conversation that we need to have.
Yeah. Howie is saying she's correct. Living cells retain memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Julie, I wanted to direct this question to you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
How can people best ask for and receive signs from their deceased pets? And does grief get in the way of that? Can heavy grief get in the way of receiving those signs or symbols or connection? Could you talk about that?
I am finding personally right now, heavy grief gets in the way of finding signs, because I have been told my dad is sending signs, and I I'm not sure what every now and then something comes through, right? But I do believe heavy grief, as I'm experiencing right now, does get in the way. And I also know that as I do pet loss grief sessions, the pets will name specific signs that they are going to send or are sending their humans. And they also will say, and you are in heavy grief right now, so you won't see it. But as you move through it, these will become more clear. And you can watch for them. How to ask for them, what I always find helps is having that moment where you can be quiet and connect to your heart center and really quiet your mind, and then reach out to your animal and just say, you can even ask a question. If I'm doing something in my greatest and highest good, can you send me a sign? And I advise people to leave it open and allow the animal to choose the sign. If you feel like you need to be proven, of course. However, it's kind of more fun if you open it up and allow the animal to choose what means most. And then when you see it, you're going to be absolutely delighted. So that's just my feeling. But to be able to quiet yourself and then ask the animal from your heart center, can you send me a sign so I know you're okay? Can you send me a sign so I know you're here? And allow it to transpire? And it will. Trust. Dreams are a huge thing too, by the way. They love to visit in dreams. So
Karen or Meredith, do you want to add to that in any way? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. And grief, and it works the same, right? We can't look at our people grief and our pet grief differently. The grief is all the same. Right. And it's all spirit. Like we just remove the meat suit, whether it's an animal or a person. We just remove the meat suit, and it's all spirit. And collectively, we're all connected. So it is a feeling and an energy. Like the pets feel the same, even though it's not my area of expertise, but energetically they feel, and you just know that you're connecting with the pet the same as you would with an adult. I always use the analogy after you've had your turkey dinner, if you eat turkey, if you eat meat, but you're in that coma state on the couch and you're half asleep and somebody comes into the room, you know who it is by their feel energetically, and your eyes are closed. So the animals are the same way.
Yeah.
I'd like to throw in just a little thing, and then I'll let Karen wrap it up because she'll be far more thoughtful and poignant than I am. Because y'all know me, I have my little ADD brain, So while I like to try and quiet myself and open myself up to the signs, I really like the surprise signs. I really like those cosmic 2x4s. I really like that. I've been trying to get this sign through to you, and now you're finally going to see it. And I like the moments that cause me to stop. Like 3 times today, hummingbirds are very important to the 3 of us. 3 times today, I'm in Mississippi. A hummingbird has flown literally where I could feel like the wind from it and made me stop and go, oh, hey. I've got a few other little signs. A blue butterfly is very important to me. Apparently today, cicadas are very important to me. Apparently today, moles have been a big thing. I like the ones that stop me and make me go, oh, yeah, you're trying to make me stop and take a breath.
Yeah.
And I also like the clients who ask me, well, what are the signs going to be? And I'm like, I can't tell you what the signs are going to be. It either needs to be a surprise or you need to calm yourself and do those things. But here randomly in this reading, I get an image of, this purple kangaroo. Oh my gosh, I saw 3 purple kangaroos today. Okay, keep your eyes open for purple kangaroos. That's what little Mimi's sign is going to be for you. So I kind of like the ones that sneak in and wake me up. I'll ask for them all day long, but I like the ones that come in when I don't expect it.
It's the non-thinking moments. Yes. So we're not holding our breath and we're not tight, that we're just in that space, creativity, if we're being creative or just whatever puts us in a non-thinking mode, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Do you want to add to that? Thank you, Meredith.
I guess what I'll add to it, because a lot of my clients, when they're in deep grief, will say, I can't hear or feel the signs. What can I do? I really want to connect with my animal. And I give them well, their animal will give me the clue to give them this because it's something they would be willing to try. And that is, I ended up working with animal medicine cards for like the first year that Hockey Puck had passed, because I was so distraught, except for when he would send black crows, which there aren't any in Boston. But he would send black crows and they'd be like, "Rah, rah, rah," until, and being a black cat, until I would pay attention. And as soon as I said, "Hi, Hockey Puck," they'd fly away.
Crazy, right?
Right.
Like,
Not something I could ever have looked for. That's the thing. We get so fixated on, he always jumped up on the bed. I want to feel him still jump up on the bed. Right. But sometimes that's just not the way they're going to do it, because they know, A, you can miss it too easily. 2, you're going to negate yourself and say, "I just shook my leg." So they want to get you in a way that they know you have to stop and you're arrested by it and go, "Wait a minute, that's not normal." Black crows are certainly not normal. And he sent them to me 3 or 4 times so I would know it was him.
I love that. And being like, you won't, getting caught up in the overthinking or the hamster wheel of I'm missing and I'm doing something wrong just adds to the grief. So just trusting that when it's the right time that you will, and giving yourself that grace, that you can't push your grief to go away faster than like you still have to move through those grief feelings, right?
Yeah.
So Mary Ellen Andrews, she was, I hope that you're still here. She sent me her story, and I told her that I would read it on during the podcast. So I'm just going to read the email that she sent me. So that would be the Mee Andrews. Hopefully she's still here. She said, "You wanted to hear stories. I had a pug named Barkley."
Fabulous.
That I had to put down in September 2020. One night, a few months ago, I woke up to snoring. I sleep alone and in the basement. At first, I thought it was my granddaughter above me snoring, as she had a cold at the time. When I woke up more, I realized it wasn't, and then recognized the snoring to be that of Barkley's. I actually have a recording of it. I did video where I felt he was laying. It was too dark, so you couldn't see anything, but you can definitely hear him. I had my kids listen, and they agree. They can't believe I heard him. I since have woken up and hear him from time to time in different places in my room. Thought I would share this with you. And then she had come out to a Dining with the Dead event. Wow,
that's amazing.
Right?
Cool. I love that there's audio of it.
There's audio. Makes it all the better, right? And yeah, for sure. And I think like we don't all get to have that, but we can experience it. Just be open that we could potentially have those kind of experiences.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I know Quinn, the little rescue from the cemetery that we had, she passed away, but because she was so fearful, I slept with her. She just needed unconditional love, and she got as much as that in her short little life that I could give her, right? But I always slept with my hand on her belly, so she would feel me and I would feel her, and I was lost without her after she died. I needed that feel, and then in the middle of the night I had woke up and it felt like weight beside me, like she had come in and I could feel that weight beside her. So they eventually do when we're ready and open. And I always add in a way that I will see, hear, feel, or know and thank you.
Yes.
In the right way, however you're doing it in a way that's going to work best for me, and thank you.
Gratitude. That's beautiful. I'm going to remember that too, Carrie Lynn.
Me too. Yeah. And while you're looking, I just wanted to add one more thing. I forgot to finish my sentence, which was when I was in deep grief for Hockey Puck, and I really thought I was missing messages, I actually got out my animal medicine cards. And the cool thing about that is I ended up, and this is a great thing for people, anyone who is really grieving their animal, but really wants to still have a conversation with them, to build a story with them. It was a great healing process for me, where I got animal medicine cards. And Julie, you can remind me, I think it's David Carson and I forget the other.
Amy Sands.
Thank you.
2 Indigenous authors. Yep.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I spread all the cards out on the bed upside down so I couldn't see the photos. And I would ask a very simple question of Hockey Puck. And I would just ask, what is it you want me to know right now? What my heart is breaking over. I can miss you. What do I need to know? And I would just float my hand over all the cards. And I would actually feel either something press my hand down or a little tickle. And I just trusted it. Heat, maybe a little wind. And that was the card I would pick up. And it always gave me an answer from him.
I love
And
that.
I wrote all of those down in a journal. The parts that made sense to me from the stories, I would write them down in the journal. And I have a whole year of me asking a question and writing his answer down in a journal. And like way more often than should be, I kept drawing the Black Panther card because he was a Black Panther cat. So that was another way for him to say, yeah, it really is me, Mom.
Love that.
Isn't that incredible?
And again, not treating the animals any different than we would as a spirit guide or a loved one in spirit, asking in the same way and trusting that they can give us the information in a way that we can receive it.
Yeah.
Donna Rewald, thank you for being here. She is saying, sorry if this has been spoken about. I came on late and will watch from the beginning. Our 15-year-old Labradoodle, Layla, seems to be possibly declining a bit. Can they tell us if it's close to their time or if their body is getting tired? Is there, would some, I'm not sure who would like to address that one?
I can tell well, they connect. I feel like they're connecting. I can just answer that. Yes, absolutely. They can tell us. There's a number of different ways and we have our own ways of doing that, but I can see Karen is connecting in as well as Meredith. So I will let them do that.
So I see Karen D. What I'm going to say is every animal that I've ever lived with and many that I've worked with always say, don't worry, I will let you know. They will let us know when it's time, but a lot of times animals are very, very good at hiding pain, discomfort, those things because they're animals. They're helping take care of us. They also don't want us to spend all of our time worrying about how we're going to, here we come full circle to this conversation, fix whatever's going on with them. So what they've always told me to tell you as their people in their lives is to pay attention, be aware, be present, feel the feelings, know the things, spend the time, and don't worry so much about what it is you're doing or not doing, what you're fixing or not fixing. Spend the time together and the answers will become clear if you're open to that.
And what I'm getting is, can you tell me the name of the person and the animal again?
Donna Rewald, Labradoodle named Layla, 15 years old.
Okay, so Donna, when I just went in and asked Layla, is it okay if I just feel how you're feeling for your mama? And I do, she did show me, and I'm still feeling like a lot of extra energy and pressure up in my head, like some tingliness going on in my head. And I feel a little bit short of breath right now. And she's kind of letting me know that, to tell you that she knows that things are starting to break down for her a little bit. And I am feeling like there's sometimes a little bit of shortness of breath from her up in here and some pressure in her head that could be from, I don't want to interpret, but usually this feels like either medication or protection from seizure or something like that going on. So she's also giving me the sense that she's hanging on as long as she can because she wants to be with you, but eventually she knows her systems are kind of breaking down on her. And she knows, she's telling me to tell you, I know what's happening in my body. So I'm not afraid. I think you think I'm afraid, Mom, but I know what's happening.
And generally speaking, wouldn't you agree, Karen? They tend to be more okay with, I understand this is a natural way of things. But Julie, I'm laughing at you. Is Lucas digging deep?
Yeah.
So you're going to have to contribute here.
Usually Lucas, who sits at my feet, when he starts to do this, which is not that often, it means we're supposed to go deep. I just don't.
You hear him? I mean, 4 times ever I've heard him do this, but I know what it means.
Yeah. But he will defer to y'all
So
tonight.
let us know if that makes sense for what we're talking about, because she really wants to let you know that she knows what's going on. She's not necessarily afraid. She's just managing her body's system until it's not going to run enough for her.
And I will add, based on what Lucas is contributing to the conversation, consider, is there some bigger picture lesson question here for you, Mom, that you need to consider around realizing that your baby is aging, even if she's not ailing? Just consider what it is you might need to be working through in this period of time.
Lucas thanks you for that, Meredith. Yes, you guys doing this.
Oh,
Thank you, Donna. Howie was asking, so yes, Howie, they all connect with spirit animal, like animals that are crossed over as well too. You may have missed that at the beginning. He was asking about spirit guide or spirit animal guides. Do they come through as well? Would they come through for living animals as well too? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you had multiple animals in your home, would those also come in a session for the ones that are living or their people?
It can be. Do you mean if the animals crossed?
I don't know. He's asking about spirit guides, spirit animals, or spirit guides.
okay.
If so, if you connect to those on the other side, if so, how do you all feel about spirit animals or spirit guides?
Can I just throw a quick thing out there about this? I'm going to say yes to it all. I've literally had angels come through to talk about an animal who has passed, to help the person with the trauma of how that animal passed. I've had humans on the other side come through to help explain what's going on with an animal. I've had other animals come through, and I've had spirit guides come through. So they all can come through if the animal soul kind of wants that extra connection to help explain whatever's going on.
Right.
They're all very different things to me.
Yeah.
Spirit guides, spirit animals, angels, human spirits, helper animals. These are all very different things to me, and they've all shown up.
Yeah, I actually offer a reading that I'll do where I will help you figure out your 7 to 9 animal guides.
Oh, that's awesome.
Animal guide family is what I call it. But yeah, so there's just so many different things. We've been having a conversation with Radley Valentine about how animals have guardian angels, how animals have their own set of spiritual advisories and advisor team, or I can't speak now, but yes, all of it, all of the above.
So where can people listen to your podcast? I just need to be mindful of the time, and we do need to start winding down. This has been brilliant. Thank you, everybody that participated in the chat and made comments. Thank you for being here. You guys make the show, and I'm appreciative. So Julie Hirt, Meredith Tollison, Karen Dendy Smith, the Animal Communication Collective. Where can we listen to your podcast?
So you can find us. We are part of the mindbodyspirit.fm family of podcasts, and you can find it also wherever you listen to your podcast. So on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and even if you go to mindbodyspirit.fm as the website, you will see us listed there, and you can see all the back shows as well as if you go to Apple and whatnot. But yes, and we have a website called theanimalpodcast.com too.
If you go to the Animal Communication Collective, are your individual sites listed there as well too? Can people find you individually? So that one landing spot to get to all of you.
Yeah. Yep. And
That's
the
right.
collective is the fundraising arm that Karen founded too. So yes, so you'll find events that we're doing where we're raising money for different rescues
So
too.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing one next week, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And so
Yeah.
you posted on social media. I try to
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I missed because I just get so busy in my lane, but please follow them on social media, the Animal Communication Collective. They do so much brilliant work, and each of you are such lovely, bright lights. And I'm so grateful that you share the gift of who you are and that you shared your time and energy and space with me tonight. I'm so grateful. And
we're honored to be on your show. We love what you do, and
thank you.
Which is really special.
Thank you. For me too. Like, I just feel very grateful. So very grateful. So thank you, everybody. Next, so if you want to hang out on the UPRN network, Jeffrey Pritchett will be up next with the Church of Mavis. And next week, if he is feeling better, if you could all please hold Father Sean Whittington. He has the show before me with Father Sean Ministries. He is not feeling well. So if you could hold him in your thoughts and prayers and send some positive energy his way, I would be grateful. He is going to be my guest next week if he is feeling better. So I hope that y'all tune into that as well too. So thank you for listening to Spirit Switchboard. You have been listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. Good night, everybody. Thank you so very much.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Carolyn.